Hey folks, welcome back to Only the Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about the second Guy Gavriel case series I'm reading, and that is Sailing to Sarantium. I enjoyed this so much, so much. Oh my god! At this point, I just need to read everything by Guy Gavriel, okay, and just marinate in it all. Like, this one is structured very differently from from one of the other series that I read from him. There are other duology under Heaven, River, Stars, in that this one is very much the first book of a duology. Like, it doesn't conclude things in in a convenient fashion. But what is Sailing to Sarantium about? Well, it starts with this phrase, a really cool phrase that I had to make a note of. Uncrown, the Lord of Emperors awaits you now. And that is how the previous Emperor Sarantium dies, leaving a power vacuum, which his nephew Valerius the Tricassian is appointed to fill. And Valerius is obsessed with his legacy, and one of the things that he wants to do as a way to cement his reign into the centuries to come is to rebuild a sanctuary that was destroyed, and make it grander than ever. So as part of that, he decides to recruit artisans and craftsmen from all across the Sarantine Empire, which is how Caius Crispin, the main character of the novel, is he goes to Sarantium to work on this sanctuary. The problem is, he's not the one that was invited. His master received the invitation, but his master refuses to go. So Caius is going in his stead and pretending to be his master, essentially. And as if that wasn't already a tricky enough thing to do, his empress, Caius's empress of his kingdom where he is sending him with an overture of marriage to the new emperor, who is already married. And to say this is probably going to drastically reduce his lifespan is an understatement. So that's essentially that's like the premise that we start off Sailing to Sarantium with. Now you'll notice I say start off with, because this book and this story just becomes so much more by the time we're done. Honestly, when it comes to Guy Gavriel, okay, I'm starting to feel like a broken record talking about his books, because everything we love about this guy is here. Just a marvelously crafted story, rich in political intrigue and characters and drama, and just the relationships and the interactions that they have and the way they unfold, and just the politics and the tension and the humor and the drama. Everything is there. It's all there. And honestly, I think this might be one of the richest and most poignant deployments of it I've read. Like, this is definitely upper tier GGK. Absolutely upper tier GGK. Like, I think if I had to if I had to rank his books, this would be maybe top 5 easily. And this is GGK we're talking about. Like, his releases are already a bar above the regular fantasy novels you read. But yeah, like I said, everything we love about GGK is in here. The stellar characterization, the prose, which if an average writer is like listening to a pop song, GGK is looking at the world class orchestra playing. Well, like, it's incredible. And like I mentioned, this is very much the first book of a duology. It doesn't wrap up the story. It stops at a particular point, and it does wrap up certain things, but by no means does it wrap up this story. And it is a very incredible story. So the Sarantine Empire is based on the Byzantine, and in addition to that, this world, it's set within the same world as the Lions of Alrasan, just within a different time period. Because some of the races and some of the cultures and some of the religions that are mentioned as different people who exist, different characters who exist within this story, they are very much present within the Lions of Alrasan. But honestly, I think the linchpin of this whole novel is just the main character that we have. So Caius Crispin is your standard master artisan. Like he's extremely skilled at what he's done, like an acknowledged genius at the work that he's doing, and he's irascible. He's not a people person. It's exacerbated by the fact that he lost his family in a plague that spread throughout the city a couple of years back, and like this guy, his form of communication is essentially cursing someone out bad enough to peel the paint off their backs, essentially. Which is funny because he's thrown into this simply by accepting this invitation. He's thrown into this deeply political setting that he now has to function in, and he's not a people person. He's not good at communication. This guy is effectively a bull in a china shop, and you can imagine how that plays out, how that makes things so interesting in his story, as we follow along with just what happens with him and how things unfold. Because oh my god, does this story make some twists and turns along the way. Like nearly all GTK novels, there's nothing much in the way of magic in this book. Like I personally like to say that the magic in a GTK book is just the writing. Like I can't think of anyone whose writing I enjoy as much as GTK's. Just the way he tells things. Maybe Pratchett, probably. Maybe Terry Pratchett, maybe Joe Abercrombie. But yeah, like GTK would probably be at the top of that list. I would assume. But yeah, like it's that kind of world. And like I mentioned, it's very much based on Byzantium. So there are like these heavy Roman influences. For example, one of the most spellbinding and like captivating moments of this book was a chariot race. And what an absolutely high stakes chariot race. And things like that. Like there's mention of a version of what is effectively Greek fire, things like that. Like, you know, odds are if you're watching this video, you're very familiar with what Roman culture was like, and the book has heavy inspirations from that, effectively. What else do I want to say? I don't really have much else to say about this book because it's kind of difficult to talk about it as a book within itself. It's very trademark GTK, just dialed up to 11, and like I mentioned, it's not fully a complete story. There is still very much a lot of things that do get wrapped up in the second book, Lord of Emperors, which I'm going to talk about when I'm done reading that. But yeah, absolutely incredible novel. If you're considering, if you're new to GTK, this is one that should be high up your list after you hit what I call like the big three, which is for him, which is Tigana, a Song for Arbonne, and The Lines of Artisan. This should definitely be the next one you look at. If you've already been reading the GTK for a while, then the same thing applies. After you read those three, you definitely want to get to this. But yeah, absolutely incredible. I have seen some people say that this is their favorite from GTK, and I absolutely get it. Like it's a league above. It's truly a league above. Yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about Sailing to Sarantium. I'm just excited to go and continue reading Lord of Emperors. I just wanted to take a quick minute to make this video while it's still fresh in my mind. Yeah, if you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.